Hey, welcome back to the Outer Rim. There's been real slow progress on the 149 repower. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I got done before the big lull in action. So, since the last time, I've got the hood off and the whole, the front assembly. And I did get into the gearbox, and it does function the way that I thought. You loosen the jam nut here, tighten this nut, and then tighten the jam nut back up. So that took a lot of the play out of the gearbox. I greased the holy bejesus out of it. And when I've done that, I was concerned about some of the play in the steering here. So what I did is I went through, and a couple of these were loose. So I tightened those up, the tie rod ends or ball joint. They're not ball joints, but you know what I'm talking about. I greased the spindle, the knuckles, whatever they are, steering knuckles, sure. What I did notice is there's still play here when you run the steering, either way, but, stationary, not rolling. There's some movement in the axle this way. It looks to me like there's just a pin down in here that you could drive out and then drive that pin out. Maybe there's a bushing. This is an old American thing, so the sizes are probably very standard. I bet I could get one if it needs one. Or I can leave it go. I'm not sure. At this point, I think I'll just leave it go until it proves that it needs to be something else. The engine, pardon my rake, it is that time of year. The engine, last we spoke, I was concerned about the 149 pulley fitting on this replacement engine, and it had a broken bolt in it. Now this is aluminum, and the bolt, of course, was steel. I was very fortunate in that I took it to work where I have a good set of easy outs, and I was able to drill it and get an easy out into it, and I put just a little propane torch to it, just to the side, get a little heat in it, and once I got a little bit of heat into it, it went pop, and it came right out. And it obviously, as you can see, it fits right on there. It bolted right up. I took the bolt out of the, the end of the shaft down inside of here, and this bolts right on. On the back side of this, there's a hole for a pin, like to locate it so that it doesn't spin on that bolt. Unfortunately, there's nowhere for me to get that into the engine on the flywheel side. So I figured I'll run it like it is for now, and if it's a problem, then we'll address it then. I did not order a coil for it yet. I did not order a voltage regulator yet. If you don't recall, the kill switch tab had rotted off. This thing sat in a field for the tractor this engine came off of, sat in a field for many years. So I need a coil. So that thing will bolt right on there. Never sees, of course, when I get to that. Over the summer, I was able to go to some kind of an event, Pioneer Days, I think it was called, in Pierpont, Ohio. And they had garden tractor pulls, and it was the first time I've ever been to garden tractor pulls, and I noticed that most of the machines were international Cub Cadet-based machines, and several of them had modified the engines in some way and cut the frames to fit, a different engine. And where earlier I had mentioned that I thought people just cut them and bent them kind of haphazardly, they were all very well done at the garden tractor pull. So I have a better idea of what to do when I get to that point. I'm slightly concerned about the mounting holes. I know that the holes in the machine are different than the engine, but it's just drilling holes, but I don't want to make Swiss cheese out of it if I don't have to. I think that's about it. I do have, if you'll join me over here for a moment, I do have some expanded metal for a grill, because the grill is missing. That's okay. When I was still on Facebook, I asked someone about headlights, and they gave me a part number for LED headlights, which I thought was great. I do have some tire chains. I was able to get a John Deere snowplow for my John Deere garden tractor at a church rummage sale last winter for not a lot of money at all. And it came with tire chains, and I looked at them and they were longer than the tire chains on my John Deere garden tractor. So I tried to put them on here thinking, well, maybe they'll fit that, but they are not. They're not of the right, they're not made to fit this. So, oh well, but they're nice. These are nicer than the ones that I have. The ones I have are pretty worn out. So maybe I'll use these on my John Deere next year. I do have the snowblower for the John Deere out. I got it out of the storage, and the birds had their way with it apparently. But my concern is putting this on the John Deere too early, then I don't have anything to tow the buggy around. And the buggy is very useful to me for moving firewood, moving sticks that are blown down, cleaning out the chicken coop and dumping the shit out in the compost pile. So yeah, I do have a walk behind snowblower that I tried to get started and it wouldn't start. So I've got everything in the garage now, trying to get ready for snow. But relating to the 149, I do have a welder. I made a little wheeling and dealing with some friends and some bartering, which is always nice. So I got a hold of old Miller Maxstar 280. So I've got to run some wire, which I have from an old electric stove we had in our house in the city that we replaced with gas. So I've got big heavy wire to run an outlet. I've got the weld machine. One of the guys that I buy parts from made me up some cables, well, a stinger and a ground. And my employer allowed me to use this old fiber metal welding helmet until I get my own helmet. That's a luxury that I have in that it's a mechanical contractor. That means steam fitters that weld pipe. And usually it's a union shop, so those guys bring their own helmets. These are old dusty things I pulled out of a pile somewhere in storage and asked if I could use it. So I've been real fortunate. Now you see, the importance of the welder that I forgot to mention is that will allow me to make the modifications to the 149 to the frame so that I can fit the engine and fit the starter in the far side and yada, yada, yada. So that's the significance of the welder. So that's about that with the 149 for now. I don't know, tune in next time where I talk about all the stuff that I was doing and why that kept me from the garden tractor. It's a city mouse, country mouse thing. Maybe you'll enjoy that. All right, we'll see you next time. Sneaky Snake's back to help me with my lawnmower again.